given a name to my pain. The Batman.
Always waiting for some Batman to save you.
It's simple. We kill
The Bat of Gotham.
You don't really think you'll win, do you?
I'm Batman.
Hello and welcome to episode 159 of the Batman on Film podcast. BOF is the sponsor as well as a proud member of the Batman Podcast Network. Check out all the shows over at batmanpodcastnetwork.com and follow our Twitter at BatPodNetwork. If you're listening to us on iTunes, if you take the time to rate and review the show, we'll read it on the air. BOF is also now on Patreon, so if you like what we do here at the site, whether it's the podcasts, vlogs, or the website itself, and you want to help support us if you're so inclined, please head over to patreon.com/BatmanOnFilm and sign up. I'm the host of the BOF podcast, Ryan Haas, and on today's show, we are going to discuss the insane Joker movie news that broke and unbroke over like the last 20 minutes. And here to discuss that, I have with me the founder and editor-in-chief of Batman on Film himself, Jett Ramey. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Can you believe it? I'm here. I'm a real person.
You are.
Yes.
It's exciting when I can just, text you and be like, "Hey, you want to do a show?" And you're like, "Yeah," and it all works out.
I was off today, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm fired up to talk about this." And there was a time there, I don't know, 10 back during the Dark Knight trilogy days. Like between Begins and The Dark Knight, that there were people online thought that I was a fake person that Warner Brothers had created this online persona to pimp and shill for the new Batman films. So yes, I am a real person.
Yeah, well, that's good. We need you.
I'm glad I'm real and here.
Yeah, so, yeah. But yeah, I mean. So this Joker stuff, it's we should maybe break it down a little bit. I mean, a few weeks ago we had a show, I guess 157. We talked about whether Todd Phillips Joker movie should have a sequel or not. Mm-hmm. And as the film keeps climbing up in the box office ranks, I mean, it's made $1 billion. Mm-hmm. It's the most successful R-rated movie ever. It's one of the most profitable superhero movies ever. It just seems like a sequel is just inevitable, but we were kind of hoping that like maybe it wouldn't really happen because the movie doesn't, it's kind of great by itself. It's a brilliant movie, and it just kind of, I like it stand alone, and I wouldn't want to see that get messed up.
I don't want my interpretation of that movie to be explained away with a sequel, and that's to me that's what a sequel would do. I just don't see a continuation of that story. I don't. And now I thought, well, what if they, if this stuff is, I don't know how much, it depends on, that's the genius of this film, Ryan, is that there's so many interpretations of what was real, what's not, and if that's the case, do you make a movie where it's some other version of the Joker in his mind? But then, you know what I mean by that? It's not a continuation of Joker. It's some other hallucination or fantasy he has in his head. But with that, if you do that, you're taking away. You're explaining the magic trick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the gimmick's already been used. It's like like why would you have the Sixth Sense 2?
Yeah. I mean, so for me, I'm just thinking like I would be down with something like same creative team, same director, same writer, of course Phoenix, and just do another movie that's the Joker and not have it be related to this one at all. Like zero. I'm like, that's how you do a sequel. Just make another Joker movie and not necessarily an origin movie. You just make it a completely original thing and just let that be its own thing again. But that's also like capturing lightning in a bottle twice. But
everything came together on this perfectly. It's look, I get the fact. I think Warner Brothers is shocked as anybody that film made $1 billion. It wasn't expected.
They were lukewarm on Greenlight
absolutely.
in the first place. That's why it was such a lower budget than compared to a major blockbuster.
It was conceived as a one-off, and we thought, I was kind of like leery. I really don't want to see a movie about how the Joker came to be. But I didn't know what they had planned with, with this quote unquote magic trick of how much of this is real, how much of it is fantasy and so forth. So that's the brilliance of the film. And of course we didn't know that then because they would be giving away the trick. So I get why they would be tempted to do a sequel, but there's something to be said for just letting this stand on its own, and because people are still going to be talking about this movie for years, what was, because there's so many interpretations. So but hey, I'm just me. I'm just a guy that runs a Batman site with an opinion. So I'm not in the business
just
of
one
making
opinion
money for Warner Brothers. So whatever.
Yeah. But so we were, speculation from, critics and fans alike for weeks on, is something going to happen, especially because Todd Phillips and Joaquin Phoenix have seemed pretty open to the idea. So today, this story came out on the Hollywood Reporter. When a trade reports something like this, it's usually pretty legit, and it's had this story that's, Joker sequels in the works. And not only that, but that Todd Phillips wants to do more DC origin movies, and it had this story about, the Monday after Joker came out, it said that Todd Phillips just headed up into the Warner Brothers office and Toby Emmerich's office and wanted to do a Joker sequel, and he wanted the rights to all the DC characters' origin stories, and walked out with not that, but a sequel. He could do a Joker sequel and at least one other story, and that he would be, him and his co-writer for Joker would come back to do the sequel. And we were like, wow, that's kind of crazy, and just to not to bury the lead here, but just a couple hours after that, Deadline came out and said that entire report is just complete bogus and not
and they
true
were
at all.
And it was very firmly, they were firm about it, that it was they
complete fabrication,
they
and we were texting about it, and I was like, I can't really think of many instances in stories like this where two trades will come out with a story like this, and one of them will completely deny the other one like this. Usually it's like the most recent example I can think of is when Robert Pattinson got cast as Batman, and it was in most of the trades with that it was a done deal, and then some trades came back out and said, whoa, it's not, he's a front runner, but it's not a completely done deal yet, so it's don't say it's official. But this is a little different, where they've got a whole A to B to C storyline that happened, and this thing's happening, and then another trade comes out and says that is 100% false.
I may be wrong, but it sounds like to me that one party contacted one of the trades with some information, and then the other party may or may not be involved is saying, not so fast, my friend, and they contacted another trade to dispute the story. So it's something, maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle,
right.
But the deadline,
like there's
report,
probably interest.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's no way that, even though as adamant as I am that there shouldn't be a sequel, and I've wrote about it and I've said that on Batman on Film many times, I get the temptation. I mean, the thing made $1 billion. I get it.
Yeah.
But do you sit and really think, okay, like if you're Todd Phillips, you've made this brilliant film that's got this great hook of that it's so ambiguous. Do you really want to jack with that as a director? I mean, like, could you imagine Nolan doing something like this?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's after having somebody like Jack Nicholson do the role, and after having Heath Ledger come in and do the role and reinvent it and win an Oscar, and have Phoenix come in and do it again with the same character. Like, it just seemed a little strange to me that, like, the Monday after the movie comes out, he marches right up into the office and says, "I want my sequel, please." And it just seemed, and all of the DC characters to do the same thing. It just seemed like that was, even though the willingness is there, it just seemed like that's not really Todd Phillips' MO with doing what the films he's doing. At least that's what it seems to me.
Well, I'll say, speaking of Todd Phillips, I mean, they kind of wore the whole premise of The Hangover into the ground. After the original.
He's had that experience.
Yes, the original was a success. It had how many times can you get drunk and wake up hangover and then all these crazy shenanigans, take place afterwards? I mean, that got old
diminishing
quickly.
Diminishing returns.
Absolutely.
Although it was a super successful franchise for them.
Yes.
Over $1 billion all 3 movies or whatever. But it's like how many times do you want to go back?
Neither the 2 sequels, especially the third one, was not nearly as good and original as the first one was.
Right.
This isn't a Joker movie where they set up the possibility of a franchise and a continuation. And I don't mean a cliffhanger, but I mean a straight up Joker story.
What happens next?
Yes. Where
although there's been plenty of speculation from fans of like, well, I want to see what this Batman looks like, or I want to see this Joker in Reeves' Batman movie. Both of which I'm just like, no, we don't need that.
Well,
there's enough different interpretations of Batman and his world and his villains that I don't think we have to have every single thing like go down this rabbit hole. I mean, it's the stories are good enough to kind of do these different things with.
I would hope that we start, and this is one of the things I really liked about Joker, is that I hope that fans of the comic book movie genre would try to, get out of the mindset of these are comic book movies, so they must all connect. They must spawn sequels. They must start franchises.
Well, I think that's part of why Joker was so successful.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost like counter programming to some of the interconnected MCU kind of stuff. You couldn't be farther from that with what Joker is. It's you can't really think of it as a superhero movie or a comic book movie first, because it's not presented that way. Even more so than the Nolan movies, I would say.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I would say, speaking of Nolan, I mean, I just I brought up Chris, and I said, I can't imagine him doing something like this. I mean, of course, he wanted to do 3 films with Batman and do a trilogy, but say Inception, Inception 2. I mean.
Well, I don't know. Some people are already speculating, like maybe his next film, Tenet, is like a backdoor.
Tenet. Oh, I've heard some of that, but I don't see Nolan copying himself. He does different. I
feel like the only way he would do that is if you don't know it's a sequel until the last frame of the movie or something.
Okay, that I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that. Have you seen the trailer for that?
I have not.
So we saw Joker in IMAX at the watch party, in New York, and that's the only place you can see the trailer for Tenet so far is if you go see an IMAX movie. And I mean, it's a quick thing, but it's totally it's another Nolan movie, and it feels it feels Inception. It feels Nolan-y.
It feels like a Nolan movie. Yeah. Where you know absolutely nothing, but
you want to see it.
You want to see more. Yeah.
It's exactly it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed Joker, and there's, of course, there's room. I mean, like we said, nobody really was. I mean, everybody was pretty skeptical of this Joker movie when it first was announced, because we've talked about it on the show before. It's hard to, you can't just say, the way it was reported was it's a Joker origin movie, and that's not really what this movie is. I mean, it's a oversimplification of what it is. So, if this creative team has an idea, just like the Nolan movies, like if they have an idea and they have a story to tell and they're interested in doing it and they want to do it, I think let them do it. But man, I just hope they're doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah, I don't want one. I would argue against it, but if they do it, I will reserve judgment till I see it. I'm not going to dismiss it. This is going to suck, period, until I actually see it. I think they're, even though I think still they'd be better off just leaving it alone. But
Yeah, it's almost in the same category as like casting. It's like, well, okay,
yeah, it is.
I'll wait to see it, but for this move, but for a whole story like this, I'm just like, it was so good, just leave it there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, got anything else to say about this? I mean, I'm just more fascinated that the news unfolded and refolded the way that it did.
Yes, yeah,
because that usually doesn't happen, and I guess that's kind of shows you how maybe the fervor around the conversation of what is going to happen with the movie. I mean, a lot of eyes are on it, in terms of what's going to happen with it, especially as we get closer to the, Oscars next year. People are, still talking about, Phoenix getting an Oscar nom for his performance and stuff.
I think it proves, I think the Batman brand is strong. If there have been, I think Warner Brothers has $4 billion superhero films, and 4 of them are in the Batman universe, I'm sorry, 3 of them are in the Batman universe. Dark Knight Rises and, of course, Joker. I think it dispels the idea that comic book movies can't be dark and serious and do well. I think if they're good, people will show up. That's the bottom line. If the movie is good, it doesn't matter if it's lighthearted, whether it's fluffy or dark as can be, people will show up if the movie's good because it'll get good word of mouth, have legs, and
look at the spectrum. You go all the way from Joker to Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises to Aquaman. That's a wide thing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And just to brag on Batman on film a little bit, not the site, but there's a dozen or so $1 billion comic book films, and the ones that are just solo movies, the Batman brand movies, again, those 3 are more than any other character, that has a solo movie that's
slant
$1 billion film. And it bodes well for the Batman because, it's Batman. They're already... the previous incarnation is only 2 years past us, but we're getting ready for another solo film. But on the other hand, it's been 7 years now, over 7 years since the last solo film, and I think that's more.
So it comes out in the Batman tentative title comes out in 2021, right?
Yeah.
So that'll be 4 years, right? So it'll be about the same amount of time between the Justice League and the Batman as Dark Knight Rises and BVS almost.
Yeah, and nine, almost a decade since.
Oh my gosh!
Since the end of the Nolan line.
That makes me feel sick.
It will be a decade, just about 1 year shy of decade.
Just to get a solo Batman movie back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Man,
I'm excited for that one. So I know y'all have talked about it a little bit on the.
Oh yeah, on
the podcast.
I've been the one that's had some sort of. I'm very excited for it, clearly, but I'm still have some reserved judgment because I need somewhere to go with my with my expectations and my excitement. But it's great and fun to see how the casting has been shaping up. I think we've been touching on the casting here and there as they come on the episodes. I don't think we've yet talked about Andy Serkis in the role of Alfred, which I'm super happy. I think you were one of the first people that reported that Serkis was in consideration for a role.
In June, I heard that he was up for a role that wouldn't be a CGI mocap performance. And of course,
can you imagine the CG Alfred?
Yeah. So I just assumed, see, this is me assuming as a fan. Well, he would make a great Penguin, because Penguin was supposed to be in it.
That makes sense. The most sense.
I think I wrote in there he could be playing the Batmobile, and I would be happy because I like him.
Yeah, he's great.
But Alfred, it's a younger take on Alfred than we've seen in the movies before. Been older guys. I guess Jeffrey. Jeffrey. I almost pulled a Rick there.
You almost said Jeffrey Lyons.
Jeffrey Lyons. Rick.
Jeremy Irons.
Jeremy Irons is not. He's not a super
ancient,
old dude. Like Michael Caine is an older gentleman, but so he's only he's in his 50s. So he's only 20 some odd years older than Pattinson. So it's a little different dynamic. And, I kind of heard they may be going more for the Alfred was once a badass type, which is kind of part of the comics now too,
that stemmed from the Earth One. Alfred.
That's where it kind of started.
That was in BBS to a degree,
a little bit. He mentions it, in the Dark Knight when they chased the thief down in.
Right. That was exactly.
Just did it for the hell of it.
Man, we have that Pennyworth show. Alfred's really getting out there these days.
Yes. Too bad he's dead. Oh, spoiler alert! If you read the comic books, so
he better not be for real, or they'll bring him back or something.
Speaking of that,
not forever.
I've really enjoyed Tom King's run. I am ready for it to be over. It is taking forever and ever to conclude that story.
With 2 issues a month, you'd think it would feel like it's coming along quicker than that. I was ready after issue 50, to be honest. I mean, I'm excited because every issue I'm like, is this the last one? Is this the last one? But it's we got like 2 issues to go after today's issue. Yeah. And I read John Beerley's review. You've got it up on the site today.
Yeah.
And he did say at the end, like, he thinks that this will probably read better in a trade than in issue by issue. And I agree with them already, because as I've been reading it, I've been letting them kind of stack up a little bit, and I'll read like 10 or 12 issues at once or something. And it's a little bit nicer, because it's like, okay, that issue went by fast, and
because like we get them on Friday, and so I like read it, and I'm like it's been like this for the last several issues. I get to the end, I'm going, that's it. Nothing happened, It's a bunch of great art.
And there's still a mystery, and I don't know why. A thing happened, and it was clever, but I don't know why. And you still haven't told me why.
Yes.
I hope enough of it resolves to where that feels complete, but it is going to spin off into the Batman Catwoman.
Yeah, he's doing that, and
that I think got delayed, but it's coming out next year.
I know they have a temporary writer coming in. Have they announced a full time or
no? It's full time. It's James Tynion and Tony Daniel,
and they're going to be the full time creative team.
They're the full time creative team. Yes,
okay,
exactly. The rumored what's going to happen after issue 100 has not been confirmed.
Okay.
Or at all. So they're for all purposes, Tynion and Daniel are and probably some fill-in artists. There's I think it's going back to monthly at this point.
Yeah,
I believe.
Yeah,
so that should let them free up and expand the storytelling a little bit. And I will say that Tynion is a little bit more. Well, a lot. He's a lot more of a prose kind of. He's like Scott Snyder to a degree compared to Tom King. So I anticipate the issues being a little bit have a little bit more meat to them, especially once it goes monthly. And I actually did get to talk to Tony Daniel at New York Comic Con this year, and he signed some books, and I talked to him a little bit about this, his upcoming stint on the, because he's part of the new creative team.
Yeah.
And he's excited. I mean, he's
I love his Batman art. So
I do too.
Yeah.
He's Tony Daniel, I think, is kind of an unsung, what's the word I'm looking for? He's like a steadfast, like, dependent. He's like almost like the Jim Aparo of Batman generation. He's a writer and an artist, and sometimes he's on detective, sometimes he's on Batman, but but I don't think he's ever really been paired up with Tynion as a writer on a main solo Batman book. So I think I'm pretty excited about it, because I really liked what Tynion did for Detective Comics. So if he can tell a nice big full Batman arc, I think that'll be interesting.
I didn't mean to get off on a tangent. We've gone, to the Batman and now the comics and Alfred and all that, but that's fine. That's fine. But I would just say that, we'll see what happens with Joker. I mean, we'll see. That's just the way, that's the way that's going to have to play out. And then,
by the time we finish this, there might be another story.
Probably.
And then, no, it really is happening.
Yeah. And then, of course, the Batman's going to be ramping up. That and the fun time is really starting to kick in. The cat. I mean, we'll get
so it'll start filming next year.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, we're only they're talking January early. So I mean, couple months, 2 or 3 months, and it'll be here before you know it. Like I said, Dark Knight Rises was 7 years ago. You remember we couldn't wait for it to get here? Now it's been 7 years. So
it's crazy. Yeah, I'm excited. I don't want to be too spoiled, of course, on what the story is and what the movie is and everything, but I'm interested to see more of what exactly the take and the tone is about this thing, like basic stuff like that. So we just have, noir Batman and cast, and I just want to know more. I want to know more about what the film is, because that to me is the most fascinating thing. Because
it seems like it's going to be different than what we've seen previously, and kind of a mystery, and Batman's got to solve the mystery, whatever the mystery is,
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see that angle be explored with the character, and I want it to feel. I still want it to feel big and special, because I feel like that's not been. I mean, it's Batman hasn't. I just want Batman to have the spotlight.
Yes,
kind of, I want the film to kind of support that, and then I think having the whole world be of him and his Rogues Gallery be present, I think will be interesting, because that's something that we really haven't seen too much of.
And
even in the DCEU movies we've seen so far.
Even though Pattinson has reinvented himself after his Twilight run, he's a big name actor wise because of those Twilight films. So there probably will be some curiosity just to see him as Batman, and it'll bring in Twilight crowd for sure. It's not gonna. Certainly not going to hurt that he did those movies at one time. So.
No, not at all.
And it also means nothing that he did those movies. People, I can't believe we're having a sparkly vampire play Batman. So I'm like, come on. Now. It was a job. It was a job. He's an actor. Yes.
Yeah. And I saw have you seen The Lighthouse?
I'm going to see it one of these days. I'm off. So no, I have not, but I am.
Yeah, I actually did take the time to go see that, and it was...
Is it crazy?
It's a effed up movie, I'll say that. But it's definitely one worth watching for the performances alone.
Yes.
So there's some scenes in there I'm watching the whole time. I'm like, okay, I can see, this will be cool to see this dude try to play Batman, because you can tell that he really gets into his roles and stuff like that. So
good.
That'll be interesting.
Good. All right.
Cool. Well, I think... we're about ready to wrap it up. I think we can do a cool 30 minutes here.
Yeah, like you said, by the time this is online, there'll be another report on Joker. So sorry if that's the case, if you're listening. We did our best. Yeah, we did our best.
Yeah. So hopefully it won't be another 870 episodes before we get you back on.
No. It won't be. Especially with the Batman coming, I'll be.
Oh yeah,
I'll be excited to talk about that stuff for sure.
Awesome. All right. Well, I guess we'll get out of here today, and that will wrap up today's episode. For Bill, I'm Ryan. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Hey now! You've been listening to the Batman on Film podcast, a proud member and the sponsor of the Batman Podcast Network, BatmanPodcastNetwork.com. You can listen to the BOF Podcast on iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, TuneIn, and wherever good podcasts like this one can be found. Want to advertise on the BOF Podcast? Go to advertisecast.com/the Batman on Film Con podcast. Follow Jett on Twitter at Batman on Film and on BOF's Facebook fan page at facebook.com/Jett.BatmanOnFilm. Email Jett via Jett@batman-on-film.com. I'm announcer Rachel. Thanks for listening.